Salutations, my friends, and thank you for tuning in to another edition of Factions of Freedom. I am actually joined by Charles Kassin of Truth is Terrorism to talk about a number of things such as the vegan religion, basically, veganism, government activism, 90-year-old articles which talk about lab meat, abolishing agriculture, virtue signaling, and so much more. Everything that we see taking place in relation to Agenda 21, Agenda 2030, and the establishment of the technocratic New World Order. Now, before we do, I hope you guys are signing up for our newsletter. We're trying to make sure that we get you the optimal amount of content delivered directly to your email. Censorship may get me, but it won't get your emails. So make sure you sign up for that. Look at the bottom of the episode or go to our website and sign up there. If you guys have any questions, I'll put Charles's contact information below as well. And with that being said, let's start the show. All right. Salutations, my friends. And that clanging that you're hearing right there is our guest, Charles Kassin of Truth is Terrorism, as well as Vegan World Order. He's eating a steak. Charles, my good friend, how are you?
Can't be better eating a steak, you know that.
I still can't believe you're doing it. I can't believe you're eating a steak right now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a cannibal apparently. So.
Well, that was one of the things they started. One of the slurs that you started having come at you recently because of the work that you're doing over there on Vegan World Order. For people that don't know, a little bit of a brief history on Charles instead of just jumping right into things. Charles has been with us. This is probably about Charles's fourth time on the show. I would tell you guys to go back and listen to the previous, or go back and watch the previous episode, Social Engineering, Dehumanizations, and Scrambling the Future, but unfortunately YouTube took it down. You can still listen to it in our audio podcast feed, but we've talked about mandatory vaccines, genetic tampering, designer babies, transgender children, all kinds of other crazy things that need to be discussed. And now, I don't want to say your latest venture, but what you're doing now is you're kind of exposing what's going on with the vegan movement, so to speak, because there's people in there, and it's not a bad thing. These are decent-hearted, well-meaning people who are kind of being driven off of a cliff, so to speak. So we're going to be getting into that, all kinds of stuff like Elon Musk's interview and so much more in this edition. Like I said, Charles, thank you for coming on, my friend. It is going to be a blast talking about these things with you.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure, man.
So let's jump right into it, man. What do you want to tackle first? Do you want to tackle what's going on with veganism? Do you want to tackle the scientific dictatorship, the technocracy? What's front and center for you, my friend?
I guess just to start off, I'll say, a lot of people are like, why do you hate vegans? I don't hate vegans. I just went to a juice shop or a smoothie place or whatever that's owned by a vegan, and we get along. I didn't necessarily tell him to go look at my page and see the stuff that I'm putting there, but, I don't hate vegans. What I hate is veganism. I hate the ism. I hate the cult-like, religious, the main thing is that I've been saying is that they're being brainwashed unknowingly to support government action. Now, whenever I have somebody who's supporting government action, usually dealing with somebody that's basically a threat, and they're being brainwashed to support government action as far as taxing and then rationing and then banning meat. So that is a huge threat because that is our number one food source, no matter what any of these alkaline, electric vegans or whatever they want to call themselves say. This is our number one food source in the entire world. This is true self-sufficiency. The farmers of the world have always been the number one group that has fought the government. Big key right there. That's why this is part of the reason why they did this. If we had a movement, instead of veganism, if we had a movement getting into raising farm animals and getting into agriculture, we'd actually have a shot here. I actually believe that's our only chance to fight this. Without that, I don't think we have a shot.
So, there's a whole lot of different things to look at with that too. Whenever you're having, and we've talked about this privately before, you're having government approved diets. That's kind of strange. You know, mainstream media pushing things, and I'm glad that you said that. The ism part behind veganism. You know, I don't have a thing against vegans, man. Like I respect that. These are well-hearted, well-meaning people who are trying to like live right and live in harmony with the earth. I get that, but where have we heard that before? Georgia Guidestones and Agenda 21 and Agenda 2030.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, I don't think that, as we just said, I don't think that some of these things should be backed by the government or endorsed by the government, promoted by the government, or any of these other things, because there's other things for you to look at there. They're trying to keep you kind of on a scarcity diet. Your health is very important, but these diets that they're trying to have you on aren't necessarily designed to put you at your optimal operating capacity. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
And I see that, like, and this is something that I see you kind of getting flack for, because as we're talking about this, just last night, you said your page got taken down and then it got brought back up. But I saw one of the videos that you post a lot of are ex-vegans who come out saying, like, look, I had meat. You know, it was delicious. My skin, my tone started changing. You know, my muscles started developing. I wasn't lethargic. I didn't feel depressed.
No.
You know, could you explain a little bit more of that?
Yeah, it's something like 80 to 85% of vegans actually don't stay vegan. It's a huge number of vegans that end up coming back to eating animal foods. And there's actually, if anybody would go type into YouTube right now, ex-vegan, or why I quit veganism, and all this stuff, you'll see there's thousands of people. Because it's not healthy. It's not a healthy long-term diet. It's good short-term to clean out your body. And that's what confuses people the most. When they see me going against the vegan, they think like, oh, how can it be you're going against it when it cleans out the body and it heals diseases and all this? Excuse me. So just because some, yeah, it's like a piece of steak going down right there.
No, it's all good, man. It's iconic. It is iconic.
So just because something cleans out the body and is good for the body in the short term, it doesn't mean you do it your whole life. You know, that's what they don't understand. The building blocks of life, the building parts of our diet are meat, fish, eggs, dairy. This is what builds us up. So this is why a lot of these vegans, usually the numbers, like, I mean, some people can have trouble within the first year with the vegan diet, within the first month or two. But most people, they'll be able to go a few years on it. But the ones that are really hardcore, when they go to like the 15, 20-year point, that is just like when they completely break down. Completely. So, I mean, it just causes so many deficiencies, and it's easier to control you when you're malnourished. So that's why this is going to be forced. That's why you got Bill Gates and all these big honchos pushing veganism, pushing fake meat. I mean, I don't even know how people could be so ignorant of this. When I show you articles from 90 years ago of a British royalty dude saying that they're going to abolish agriculture, basically, and that they're going to bring in laboratory meat. And the article was titled, it was something like, save this for your children's children. What's going to happen 100 years from now? It was in 1929 Cosmopolitan, in the Cosmopolitan in 1929 by Lord Birkenhead. And this dude just says we're going to have meat grown in laboratories 100 years from now. And all of a sudden you see all this lab meat coming up. Bill Gates is funding it. So, I mean, anybody that's studied this long enough, they should really be able to see this just like that so easily when I provide you this type of evidence, documentation. But when people are so severely brainwashed, there's really not much you can do. It doesn't really matter. You can literally take them to the concentration camp and show them the concentration camp. They still won't believe it until they're sent to it. And, you know, Yuri Bezmenov, the ex-KGB agent, he talked about this, the process of demoralization, psychological warfare. I'm sure you've watched his interviews at some point.
I need to, because I feel like that's exactly, you know, what we're being force-fed these days, especially right now. You know, the demoralization. I wouldn't consider myself, as Trump says, a nationalist. I just, I understand the country's got a controversial history, this, that, and the third. But what we're going through is a lot of psychological warfare, a lot of, as you just said, demoralization, denaturalization. That was one of the things that we had talked about one of the last times that you were on, and things that have gone on with the family as well. And that's a lot of what I'm sure that article went over is not necessarily, as we called it, scrambling the future, but they have to disrupt the present so that they can manipulate the future. And that's what's happening right now. I feel like, and this is a good way to kind of pivot into this stuff, meat. This is something we're really going to take for granted in the future. Bacon, the smell of bacon. Yes, it does come from an animal. Have you ever tried cooking? Have you ever tried cooking leaves over an open fire? It doesn't work like that. You see what I'm saying? It's like this very subtle stuff that we're not really taking into consideration because we're trying to get caught up in the times. We're trying to be trendy. We're trying to be cosmopolitan. We're trying to be, relative, and that's not the way that society works. Like here, let me read for you this article. I put it up the other day. I sent it to you before I actually put it out on the page feed, and it's from Sign of the Times. It says social engineering, rebranding edible insects from planet saving to trendy. So they're already saying that we need to save the planet by eating bugs. So they want to try to make it trendy. We put this up October 23rd. It says more people would give up meat for edible bugs if they believed they were tasty and trendy. The thought of rising sea levels and more intense heat waves are enough to keep you up at night. But while we all know the situation is getting more serious, most of us are preoccupied with work, doctor's appointments, and paying bills, and these immediate visceral worries win every time. There isn't much time left to figure out how to bring climate change and global warming closer to the forefront of people's minds and persuade us to reduce our carbon footprints. So already we're talking about how our behaviors are bad, and we need to think about the environment already. So,
yep, it's environmentalists, right? Because they're mental.
Yep.
So vegans fall under that category. They become all this like environmentalist. Oh, you don't care about the planet. You don't care about the animals. Like, really, man? I mean, you think all the tribes in history, they didn't care about the planet? They didn't care about the animals? You think the Native Americans, some of the most natural people on the planet, they didn't care about the animals? Like, it's like you said, virtue signaling. They really believe, and I do believe it's a huge ego thing. I think it's an egomaniacal type of thing where they believe they know more and they're better than everyone else. Like, if you're not on the vegan train, you're not on the whole save the planet bandwagon, then you are basically, you are lesser. And you are not as smart. And yeah, so I deal with a lot. I mean, I get attacked by these people by the hundreds, like daily pretty much at this point. But it's okay. I welcome it. It's just a lot of people don't understand what that's like. They think it's like, oh, I'm going to be all lovey-dovey, roses and chocolates with the vegans. I mean, when I'm getting attacked by these people nonstop and they're telling me they should slice me up and eat me and I should be jailed and all this stuff, I'm not exactly going to be, Mr. Nice Guy with them.
And this is something I wanted to get into with you, too. I talked about it recently. We see all this stuff happening with Antifa, these socialists, these people out here causing this chaos, these paid agitators, right? What happens whenever we start seeing like militant vegans who run up in people's restaurants saying, "What are you doing eating this chicken? What are you doing eating this steak?" We're laughing at Antifa, but how far are we from these environmentalists, these environmental activists going out there doing militant things? Like, you're already seeing it like on your page. It's already happening.
It is already happening, actually. I've seen footage of them, protesting outside people's restaurants, attacking. They are doing this already. And I put one video up one time where they went into a Whole Foods in Canada and they wore like pig masks and they actually sat down and had like a chef thing and like were eating a human face, like a mock human face, and they were slicing into it. Like, dude, this is some serious stuff. It's not a joke. I mean, this is really... and this Antifa thing, it's funny you mentioned that. That's like a total socialist, like literally following the, I forget which guys it is, like a Marxist, like Saul
Alinsky's Rules for Radicals.
100%. They are following that literally step by step. Like, you just shout everybody down, you go against everything everyone stands for, and you just shout and just go at it, and like it's just going to keep happening. And yeah, the environmentalist and vegan crowd, they're definitely going to, I would imagine they're gonna be on that wavelength. And yeah, this whole save the earth, environmentalist thing, global warming, carbon footprint, greenhouse gases, all this stuff is literally to take over everything. Like every smart houses, knowing every little bit of electricity you use, every piece of food in your house. You'll have Amazon refrigerators in the future, probably. You'll have all this stuff. It's all going to be tracked, everything. It's all to, in the name of saving the earth, we're going to just be completely obliterated.
We're going to go full authoritarian to save you and the earth.
This is the scientific dictatorship, an essential part. A lot of people talk about, the fake alien invasion stuff. That's not happening. That's not happening. They discussed it. Were they going to do a fake alien invasion? No. What they went with was global warming and climate change. That's what they went with.
And that's what we're seeing right now. Like I said, like with Antifa, with these environmental activists, with these people who are going up in there, virtue signaling, saying, look, you don't care about the environment like I do. You don't know about things like I do. It's like, whoa, when did you guys become the authoritarian foot soldiers of this agenda? Like, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I don't want to eat leaves all the time. Sometimes I do like a good steak. Sometimes I do like, diced chicken. Sometimes I like fried rice. Hey, sometimes I eat shrimp fried rice.
That's right. That's your right.
Yeah. At what point does I guess my mindset or my lifestyle, I guess, offend you? And that's where we're kind of blurring the lines. We're seeing this like creation of just like collectivist mindset, hive mindset, to where it's like, look, people are splintering. They're getting caught in their emotions, and I can really understand it. I would like to think I'm not over here having an incredible carbon footprint. I would like to think that I conserve on the electricity. My wallet thinks so,
Yeah.
But apparently that's not enough for some of these activists. And it starts with things like veganism. It starts with things just like with the environment. It's like, I'm sorry that we're not taking the time to give you guys what you want, but to these authoritarian people, it'll never be enough. That's why you have to expose it. They don't see how they're just pushing.
Right. Is Antifa doing the environmental item too right now?
They are not. But I really foresee them actually. I foresee a sect of them or an offshoot of them branching off, kind of doing something like this.
100% it will happen. There's no question. There's going to be like eco police in the future. We know this already. 100%. It's already been discussed. We'll have eco police, enviro police. It's really going to happen. I think Obama had something. I forget the clip. I probably could find it. There was a bunch of kids in a classroom, and they were kind of being indoctrinated for this in the future, where there'll be like an eco army or something. They gotta find that.
Well, it's like they'll have the eco terrorists. People like us who don't. You're an eco terrorist. You're still over here eating meat and wasting electricity or doing something. You're an eco terrorist. You'll have the eco terrorists, the eco police, the eco fascists, the eco army. All these people who are different offshoots of the United Nations Agenda 21 and Agenda 2030 for Sustainable Development. While we're not there yet, that's why we're seeing this push. It's not there yet, but I truly see it coming.
Yeah, that's why I talked about, you saw that video I put out. It was the first video of myself that I actually put on my page, and I want to start doing a lot more of this because there needs to be a face. It can't just be memes and we've talked about this before where I'm not trying to like just do memes and that's it. Now you actually see me talking straight to the camera, explaining things. This is very important, I feel. But you saw the other day I put something out. I said there's a reason why there's 68 million vegan hashtags, but you don't see that for revolution. You don't see it for vaccines. You don't see it for chemtrails. You don't see it for end the Fed or the income tax. Why is this topic all of a sudden the most trendy biggest thing right now? Why is that? Are these people really all about their rights? No, they're not about their rights. They're not educated. They're just going with it. They've just fallen for the lies and the scams. And it all started in 54 or whatever. The Ansel Keys guy came out with this whole hypothesis that cholesterol was bad for us. It was just a hypothesis that started this whole cholesterol being bad for us thing. which the government ran with it. We stopped using animal fats to cook with. That's where our animal fat consumption has plummeted. Plummeted. Like our parents and grandparents and everything, they cooked with butter, lard, chicken fat, tallow, which is beef fat, lamb fat. They cooked with all this stuff. Now what are everyone cooking with? They're cooking with GMO oils. And what do the GMO oils advertise to us? Cholesterol-free, heart-healthy. The biggest poisoners of humanity are advertising their product as cholesterol-free and heart-healthy. When you see the biggest poisoners of humanity doing that, you better bet the opposite is true, which is that cholesterol actually protects your heart. Cholesterol is heart-healthy.
So think about how weak we've become. Just think about like how frail we've become. Like we have all these diseases that just literally come from malnourishment and us just like not eating properly. Like we substitute GMO foods with lab grown meat, and then we're like, I don't know why cancer rates are going up. I don't know why little Jimmy's developed a tumor, at the age of 3. Maybe we should stop feeding him the soy milk. Or maybe we should get him away from some of this glyphosate. Like people don't understand like how it all works in tandem.
I have to interrupt you. Vaccines have stopped all diseases. I don't know what you're talking about. Like vaccines have clearly protected us from all diseases, no?
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot. I didn't get my SARS vaccine.
Right. Isn't it crazy? People, the pro-vaccine people, honestly, like I go against the vegan thing because it's hardcore, this movement, and people can't see it right now, but it will be in your face at some point, and you will remember. You personally and anyone listening to this will remember what I'm talking about here, how serious this stuff is with this vegan agenda. But the vaccine people, they're my number one enemy, to be honest with you. The people that are pro-vaccine and say that, like I had a guy, I don't know, I've had people in the past week, you don't even know, the things that are said to me, man, I don't know if you get, I probably get the most hate out of anybody on Instagram, I'd imagine, but the things that are said to me, some guys like, if you don't vaccinate your kids should be quarantined. All kids that aren't vaccinated should be quarantined. Like, this is straight out of movie propaganda, I had some people saying it should be a federal law to vaccinate your children. Like, that's what they're saying is that your children should be taken away if you don't vaccinate them. When you say it should be a federal law, so these people, man, they're so dangerous. This is such a danger to humanity. We need to start a family rights movement immediately. Like, I've been thinking about this for years now, that I kind of need to just start a family rights movement, like literally. I don't see anyone talking about it. I never heard anybody say family rights movement in my life. I'm the only person that ever said it, you know what I mean? Family rights movement. What is part of the family rights movement? A right to not inject our children, a right to eat animals or whatever food we want to eat, is part of family rights. A right to not send our kids to these schools. We need to have more private schools without injections. We really need to get on this. It's just a shame to me. I see all these millionaires, people with tens of millions. They don't want to do anything. It's like people have become so soulless. It's so pathetic. I don't know. I know I have the fire in me, but I just don't see it in most people. I know you have the fire.
Brother, I support the family rights movement. Let's get this started today. This is again something we keep coming back to whenever we're talking because it's important. You don't see this stuff out there. Like within the time frame that we have talked, Charles, they have added pedophilia to the LGBT Q 546 whatever. The whole LGBT community has now added pedophilia to that, and people
is it officially added now? Officially,
I don't know if it's official because I bet they don't want to add pedophilia to it. But you know what? They're gonna have to absorb those people anyway. Those are that's part of that whole sect, and I'm with you, bro.
Listen, dude, if it makes you happy, then you should do it. I see these people, even some girls I have respect for that are cute, like my sister's friend or whatever. I see some people randomly like blurting out this garbage. Like, if it makes you happy, then you should do it. Really? So if I get happy from raping little kids, I should just go do it, huh? People are so messed up in their head, man. And I know that's not necessarily what they mean, but take it to the extreme. Let's take it to the extreme. If you're going to say something, we should be able to take it to the extreme.
Well, these are the days of extreme. I mean, like, we're looking at it every single day. There is just something crazier that happened than last week or yesterday. This is the days of extreme. We just got done talking about eco-terrorists and eco-police coming because we know they're coming if they're not already here. You see what I'm saying?
And all this, smart house, smart meters, smart everything.
And all it really does is make us dumb. It makes us more subservient. And again, it's this idea of authority. It's this idea of just like, these people know best. It's scientism. It's where you're believing in scientism and authority, to where you're just like, oh, I'm going to abdicate my own individual thought process. I'm not going to think for myself. I'm going to be led by a mob who told me to go do this.
Of course, and the experts, like some lady said in the comments today on it, because I just talked about vaccines, the last subject I've been talking about, and she's like, oh, she said to someone, are you an expert? It's like everything, it's just all about the experts today. They just provide you with these white coat experts and scientists, and the people just believe it. They really have been trained so well, like Alan Watt of cuttingthroughthematrix.com has said. You should try to get him on your show, by the way. I don't know if it's possible, because he's kind of like under the radar these days. But that guy, I have more respect for that guy than pretty much any other researcher on the planet. I really do. And he talked about how we were just trained, and they were going to train us to just think that there's just rows of experts in rooms somewhere that are going to take care of everything for us. We don't have to, you don't have to research vaccines. You don't have to really research everything and look into it and really try to find out what's going on. There's rows of experts of people just doing it that came out of altruistic wombs that are going to make sure everything's just fine and dandy for you.
It's so dangerous. It's this just blind belief and just, it's dangerous, dude. I don't understand I don't understand how people can go through their lives not questioning their surroundings, questioning, hey, what is this chemical solution that you're injecting into my body? Maybe I should ask a question about that. No? Okay. Maybe I should ask where the food's coming. Hey, maybe I should just ask, what are those streaks that aren't clouds in the sky? Maybe I should just ask some questions. I don't understand how people can go through life oblivious to things. It's beyond me.
It's this rows of experts brainwashing that we've been by people. These guys that run this world are so damn good at what they do. It's unbelievable. It's so bad that it's literally us having this conversation. We have to be part of the change if it's going to come. You understand? Now, you obviously understand. But literally, there's no chance if you and I aren't a big part of it. As far as even just sparking other people. It's not like me and you are going to change this world ourselves. We're going to go in the gym and lift weights and we're going to flex in the mirror. Yeah, we changed the world. We need to spark other people to do stuff,
Family rights movements.
I think that's the one, honestly. I think that's because why are there movements for all these other things, but there's no movement for the family? It's obvious. It's so obvious, because that's a threat. They've already talked about how the family is everything. You get rid of the family, which it's almost it's kind of a frail thing right now, the family unit in the U.S.
Yep. But that's also been by design. It's the hypersexualization of children. Then you see what's going on in the media. You hear what's going on in the music. And, and at the same time, then with politics, all this nonsense that they're trying to push with transgender bathrooms and all this other stuff, you can be a he or she can be a him. It's all, like you said, it's however you want to feel today. We are literally endorsing lunacy and saying, isn't this great? Look at this look at this asylum we call America. This is awesome.
Yeah, it's a mental asylum at this point. And the truth is, the government has no power without our cooperation. That's a fact. They can't do anything without our cooperation. Nothing. It's always about, but they program us so perfectly to cooperate, like good little slaves. The bell just rang. Now let's talk about gender X. The bell just rang again. Let's talk about stopping eating meat. The meat eating thing it's amazing to me, because even the people that are eating meat are so damn brainwashed. They think they're doing something wrong. They think, meat is, I should really not eat red meat. It's bad for me. That's how deep the brainwashing is. It's not just vegans that are brainwashed. It's even the people eating the meat have been brainwashed.
Yeah. That's deep. The chemicals that they put inside, the chemicals and the steroids and the antibiotics that they put in the meat as well. You this is all stuff that we have to think about. But I think it might have been you that I talked about with it's not sustainable farming, but it's just going out there to hunt what you actually eat. You're not taking anything more than your fair share. You got a freezer full of meat. That way you're not. I don't know. I've definitely had this conversation with people about how what's happening right now is they're literally trying to disrupt like our entire biology, our entire like physicality, our entire mentality. They're trying to get all of it, as we literally just went over, attached to this whole idea of authoritarian autonomous belief, to where we don't really think about where the food comes from. We're just like, okay, give me whatever got served up this week. Give me whatever, like prison. Like we're in some kind of prison. Just give me whatever, you got. It's crazy. We're not actually thinking about.
Actually had a guy who messaged me like months back. He was like, yeah, either he is in prison or he was in prison, and they were feeding him lab meat in the prison. I was like, whoa. Yeah, of course, the first people they're going to feed it to.
Wow.
Prisoners. But another thing is this whole, if you want to eat meat, you should kill yourself. You have to kill yourself. That's a bunch of crap. Because throughout history, there's always been tribes and communities and whatever, and there were select people that went out and did the hunting, or select people that did the slaughtering. Now they're pushing this whole thing like, if you want to eat the meat, you need to kill the animal yourself. That's just nonsense. So that's what I say to these people. If you want to eat food, go climb the tree yourself. You don't eat food unless you go climb the tree. You know what I mean? It's such nonsense. And this is what they're pushing, because the future is community gardens. It's planned out by the government. It's going to be community, commune gardens, like real communism, where there's a little garden for each little block or little community. You go in and you pick your fruits and vegetables. And this is literally the future. And we've already been brainwashed to think like, yeah, this is the answer. We have community gardens. Like, no, the answer is a mass movement into agriculture where we raise our own animals. That's the true solution. And that's why they're making that to be #1 enemy of the environment and the world right now, is animal farming. Animal agriculture is destroying the planet. Animal agriculture is causing global warming. You're going to hear that, and you are hearing it, and I know you see it everywhere. And all the vegans repeat the nonsense. Even that dude on Instagram, I have respect for him. I never just like totally dissed him, called him out, and attacked him like that. But the dude Connecting Consciousness, who Shane or whatever his name is, he promotes the same garbage of animal agriculture is the problem, and this and that. It's not animal agriculture. It's not. It's GMO plants being grown. Industrial, arable agriculture. That's what's destroying things. And the truth is, our consumption of beef and animal fat has plummeted. It's plummeted since the 70s. So they're blaming meat for killing our health and everything, but our meat consumption has plummeted. So what is it really? What is it?
And again, I have to say, like, what are we talking about whenever it comes to, again, this is climate change, global warming, all the stuff that they're trying to push onto us. This is this whole idea that we have to change our entire lifestyle, our entire way of being, simply to fulfill what? This idea of overpopulation? But how does overpopulation work unless you're in a populated center? Again, we're not seeing how a lot of this stuff has to work in the psychology. They have to plant the seeds so that as they grow, they can create more of these problems. So what am I trying to say? Community gardens only work whenever you're actually in, I guess, like whenever you're in these populated areas, whenever you're in like big industrial style cities, whenever you're in major areas. And that's where they want us. They want us in these microgrids, in these smart cities, in these populated areas to where they can control things. And that's the idea. Whenever we're talking about, animal farming, that's for people. There's enough space on the earth for all of us. I truly believe that. I truly believe that. And what's being pushed on us is, well, no, there's not enough space. You can't.
You're hearing that, right? You're hearing, because they're saying like, oh no, because I say the answer to the whole factory farming thing is we get into the family farms, doing it ourselves, and all this. And no, there's not enough room for that. It's not sustainable. Like, what? This is straight from the UN. What are you talking about? Of course there's room. Who said? You went all over the world. You went on every square inch. These people are so brainwashed, man. It's actually so dangerous. It's like, wow, sometimes I go to sleep hopeless, because my mom sometimes told me, there's no point in doing what you're doing. And I got mad. One time I even cursed her out because I got so angry from hearing it. Like, why are you doing it? There's no hope. When she said that to me one time, I shouldn't have cursed her out, but I did. Just like I was like, no, like, F you. Like, there is we can't just not, But like, so sometimes, I'm like, maybe my mom's probably right. We are screwed. These people are so brainwashed. But then I go to sleep hopeless and I wake up knowing I have to keep going. You know what I'm saying? Some people ask me, like, how do you not just like get super depressed with all this knowledge you have and all the stuff you're talking about? How are you not just severely depressed? I said, listen, sometimes I go to sleep hopeless and depressed. but I wake up the next day knowing I got to push forward and knowing I got to keep going. There's nothing else.
What other service is there? Like, what other service is there? Like, again, people are thinking about people. They're not thinking about the person. People are thinking about the people. They're not thinking about the person. Yes, a lot of people cannot do what we're doing, but the person can.
Right.
And that's the thing, is we're going so hard trying to speak to the people so that at least one person can get that grain of truth that we're trying to get out there to people. Yeah, no, a lot of people can't go out there and go farm. A lot of people can't go out there and go hunt. A lot of people can't even go grow, stuff like that's just how it is. But the person can. Right. If the person takes the time to figure out the lifestyle instead of moving more into this autonomous society to where everything is automated, that's what you get, okay? And that's how we come back full circle to what we were talking about at the start of the show. And with the farmer revolution, taking your food and taking your health into consideration is one of the most revolutionary acts you can do. If they can separate you from actually being able to live in harmony with the earth, to understand balance in that capacity, that you do have to kill and that you do have to heal. You reap what you sow. If people understand that deeper truth, they will realize that they don't need someone else to control them. And that's what I mean by just the systemic indoctrination. They're having people who are going to be in this society, in this autonomous society, in this overpopulated society, acting and thinking this way, because in this overpopulated, industrious, autonomous society, you're not going to be able to have meat. You're not going to be able to have all these things out there because it's not going to be in that society. Society won't run like that. What we're having right now is, I personally feel like the last good gas of freedom, so to speak, before we just go right into authoritarianism.
I agree so much. And the 2020 year for me is, like, I think I talked about it last time I talked to you. I think that 2020 year is a very important year. I really do. I really believe that they didn't tell us 2020 is perfect vision for nothing. Something, I'm telling you, every cell in my body just feels it. It's like I feel it.
And that's why we got to hustle. Family rights movement. That's why we got to hustle, dude. Like, I know it sounds crazy, but I really feel like we could probably start that, simply because it's simple, it's to the point, it encapsulates everything that we're trying to stand for, and it just pushes forth like common sense and just like, what got us here in the first place, a mom and a dad, not ectogenesis, not, genetically modified babies, not, vaccine schedules, just life, just normalcy to some degree. Like, good God, how did we get here?
They know what they're doing, these guys. They're really not messing around. It's kind of crazy to go against something like this, which is, I mean, what do you think about, like, the Old Testament and the religion? Do you think this plan goes back that far?
I talk with a few people, and I think yes, I do think it. I don't think this particular plan, but I think various plans have been put in play, and they've had to act them out. But I do believe in prophecy, and I do believe that we are dealing with some kind of force that has just been here, that has been trying to control our evolution at different stages.
Right.
Like even now, a perfect example. I don't know if this probably isn't talked about like in the Bible, or it may be. If people actually take the time to decipher it and figure out like the scriptures. I say this all the time. I truly believe we are going through an awakening process right now, as approved by Facebook, Twitter, and Google, by 140 characters approved statements. We, like you said, with 2020, something was supposed to go off in that time frame. We thought something happened in 2012. The world was supposed to end. It was the start of a new age. Something was supposed to happen in 2020 as well, and everything leading up to that time frame from 2012 to 2020 is supposed to set up for something even more massive. And that's why we're seeing such a push, such an urgency to just like shut it down, shut us down. We cannot I don't know what it is, but I feel like this particular time frame was charted for great things, and we see this force that has been with us since biblical times trying its hardest right now to suppress it.
Yeah, the 21st century was mapped out. Like, literally, that's why it started. The first year of the 21st century, you had 9/11. First year. They've mapped this out. That's why it happened in 2001. Like, literally, they didn't wait. It was the first year. Boom. 21st century. Because the 21st century is the century of change. That's what they were calling it for a long time. But yeah, I actually do think that from the Old Testament days, they had a plan to bring in the hermaphrodite. I believe it goes back that far. Like this gender X thing that's coming, because the gender X is just getting the soil ready for these double-gendered kids that are going to be born. Just like so many kids are being born autistic now and having mental problems and brain problems and all this stuff, and how they predict that it's going to be 1 in 2 are autistic in the near future. I do believe that's probably going to happen with this double-gendered thing.
I agree.
It's scary.
I was saw in I don't know, you must have listened to like what I said on a recent episode, because I said whenever the New York mayor Bill de Blasio signed that gender X birth certificate bill, I said in a weird way these guys are kind of disclosing the fact that with all these chemicals, all the things that they're spraying, all the things that they're doing right now, that in the future they're right. We won't have just boys and girls. We will have hermaphrodites. We will have people that have two genders, that have, both sets of genitalia for a female and a male, because of the mutations that take place, because of the biohacking that's taking place. Not only the voluntary transhuman that will take place, but the involuntary transhuman that's already taking place. I mean, look at what's going on in Argentina with Monsanto's Roundup. You see, and so that's just what's happening now. Give it what, 2 more years, we're going to start seeing more of the effects. Look at what happened with Monsanto, with Dwayne Johnson. With that verdict, unfortunately he's got cancer and they paid him off. But these are just modern day examples of people who are being affected by this chemical that has afflicted the world. And so in the future, yeah, they're going to have gender reassignment treatment. They're going to have all these other crazy genders for people who are literal mutations of boys and girls. And you're speaking on the hermaphrodite, right? Is it the hermaphrodite that doesn't have any genitalia? Is that it?
I think it's a self-replicating, it can reproduce itself.
That is crazy to me. We've become snakes.
That's been the plan apparently for thousands of years, at least according to Alan Watt when I was listening to him back then. And by the way, I was listening to Alan Watt, I don't know, 8 to 10 years ago. This dude was talking about the vegetarian/vegan agenda back then. So I was first hearing back then that there was going to be some type of push to ban meat and bring in like some type of vegan movement. 8 years ago I was hearing about it, and now it's just exploding everywhere. The whole so-called truth community is going vegan, and I'm just sitting here like, oh my god, what the hell are we going to do about this? Like, this is a dilemma over here.
But think about it, Charles. If they're again spraying the crops with all this stuff, they're spraying it with Monsanto, with the glyphosate. They got us over here underneath barium, aluminum, and strontium from the chemtrails. What better way to have an entire population mutate itself by having it eat the very crops that they're spraying the chemicals on? And people don't see that.
Exactly. They don't get it that an animal has a detox system. The cow is still detoxing a lot of this poison, but the plant is soaking it all up. So now more than ever before, it's the healthiest thing to eat is some grass-fed, properly raised animals.
Isn't that what
best thing you could possibly eat?
Isn't that what they used to do? Maybe I might be mixing it up, but I know I think the Native Americans, it was either the Native Americans or the Vikings, they gave a deer all kinds of just like mushrooms and just like psychedelics and all kinds of other stuff, and then they gave the deer all kinds of liquid to make it like dilute the effects, and then they drank what was actually in I guess like the urine or however they diluted it to get it in its purest form. That's another way to, you're not sacrificing the deer, but you're purifying it even for you. And that's just another way for us to consume, to consume meat, consume energy, consume nutrients. And that's just stuff that people aren't really thinking about. It's dangerous.
they're not, and you've heard of this breatharian garbage too, right? You've had to have heard of breatharians before.
Yeah, I mean, I can respect them.
It's total bullshit. Like, you can't be a breatharian. That's starving yourself. It's complete fraud. It's complete garbage, and it's the new age type of nonsense. And this is what these people believe. That's what gets them into veganism. Then the next stage after veganism is just thinking you could just consume sunlight. Like, no, the reason why there's the plants, there's photosynthesis with the plants. It absorbs the energy from the sun, the plants, and the animals eat the plants, and then we eat the animals because the animals can digest cellulose and we can't. So we figured this stuff out. It's not even figured out. It's all natural instincts. It's all nature. Like, and it's just this breatharian thing. People really believe this garbage is insane. It really is. People are literally able to believe that snow is black. It's possible today to make people believe snow is black. Bertrand Russell talked about it back then, actually. One of these British royal dudes, he was knighted by the royalty, he was a Nobel Prize winner and whatever. He talked about how they're going to figure out exactly how much it costs to make people believe snow is black. He was straight up, word for word.
Wow.
That they will know the exact amount it will cost them to make people believe snow is black. Isn't that amazing?
I remember reading like an article sometime about how these technocrats have literally come up with a formula for how much it would cost or the carbon emissions that it costs to make a sandwich versus going to go drive and pick up a sandwich from, say, Subway. Like how much the bread would cost, how much the lettuce would cost, how much the bologna would cost, how much the cheese would cost, like all of it. They had it like down to a science. And I was like, who has a formula for this other than somebody who is mad scientist level crazy? Like, think about that. They're literally coming up with formulas to define how to condition your mind, brainwash your mind. That blows my mind.
Yeah, and Aldous Huxley, he talked about how they already figured out that this is already established. This is on 100%. It's never going to change. That they can literally make 20% of the population believe anything. Anything. 1 out of 5 people, 2 out of 10 people in the room can be made to believe anything. And then used to take over the government, take over the established status quo, whatever. That's very dangerous.
And unfortunately, I feel like we're right there already. Look at, again, I don't want to say it's the left because it go ahead. It's same thing that you're talking about. It's not. I wouldn't say left either. It's like you see it with the LGBTQ people. You see it with the environmental, the vegan. All this they can make make that like 20%, and they are raising those numbers. The LGBTQ thing is growing huge right now. I imagine. I haven't looked at the numbers of the growth. It's definitely growing though, right? It's not like it's stagnant or declining. Oh yeah, well that's why I was like they included pedophilia into their ranks, and then it's I don't even know like the whole acronym. That's why I kind of go like LGBTQ 5, 4, 6, 7, 8 because it's just they add like so many others onto it, and that's the idea. It's this idea again of just like institutionalized acceptance to where you can be one of us as long as you're like approved by us. It's like that doesn't what. I don't get it. They're like it's like a counterfeit. They're literally counterfeiting creation. They're counterfeiting like reality. They're counterfeiting just like common sense, counterfeiting everything, and people are eating it up. That's the even crazier thing. People are they have no discernment, they have no inhibition, they have no will, no drive to actually stop and ask the questions of what's going on, why they're being driven to the slaughterhouse. They're just like, yeah, this makes sense. Sure, why not? It's because, again, of this idea of authoritarianism, of experts, of these, like you say, these rows of experts out there that are just telling you this is the way we need to move society. This is, and what's even more crazy to think about is you point this type of stuff out to people that some of this stuff has been in play since like the 20s, since like the 1800s. And then you talk to them about the Illuminati, they call you a crazy conspiracy theorist. It's like, how far off is it to think that 1% of the population would literally think about how they could use 10% of the population to control the remaining percentage of the population? But people are so caught up and indoctrinated that they don't see how they're part of the controlled population. It's nuts.
It is. It really is. So much distraction, so much nonsense. And I don't know. I wish I could, gotta give people we need people with money. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's gotta be some multimillionaires out there that want to do something about this. We gotta somehow get them on our team over here. And it has to be, I just don't see any other way. Like, it has to be buying tons of farmland and getting boots on the ground. My whole motto is farms and arms. Those are the two things I have. I have the family rights movement and farms and arms. So, like, farms, we buy tons of farmland, weapon, everybody's got armed to the teeth because you got to protect the land against these people. Or one documentary I want to recommend to everybody that I should have already spliced up into different clips and posted, I didn't get around to it yet, is Farmageddon. You should definitely watch this documentary, Farmageddon. It goes into how the government's been raiding these family farmers, and just taking away their animals and doing all this crazy stuff. Farmageddon. Yeah, and this lady who had her son, they couldn't cure the son's allergies. He was all messed up. Finally, she got some fresh raw milk from a local farm, and all of a sudden her son's allergies were gone. Vegans don't want to hear it because, we're the only species that consumes the milk from another species. We're the only species that does lots of things. We're the only species that washes our vegetables after we rip them out of the ground, too. You going to stop doing that, vegans? You know what I mean? They're just so... It's mind-boggling how stupid some of these things they say are. It really is. But anyways, Farmageddon, incredible documentary to watch to see how the government is just... And it's going to get worse with this environmental garbage. You have to understand, when you're seeing this animal agriculture is killing the world, animal agriculture is bad, animal agriculture is the enemy of the world, when you're seeing that type of talk, what are they doing? They're brainwashing society and societies across the world to accept this. Why are they doing this? Because they're going to come after the family farms that are raising these animals, and they're going to just take the land away. And who's going to be there to defend them when they heard that this stuff's killing the planet? Nobody. That's what's going on here.
Yeah,
I see through this. I could see through this. I could feel this stuff. I feel, you want to call it the vibrations, you want to call it the frequency of truth, I could feel it. I could see it. I could put it together. God gave me a prophetic view. I do believe that God has, some people say it's a curse. God has gifted me with a prophetic view of what's to come and how to put it all together and to see that this is happening and that's happening and where is it all heading. God gave me that ability to see it so that I can help people see it, and then we can work together, or people could end up working together.
I agree, brother. I really do. I feel like I have Zach Freeman on, and we talk about his visions of premonitions and future sight, being able to foresee specific events and things like that, and even, unspecific events, and sometimes later having those things unfold. I truly believe that is a gift, and some people do think it's a curse because you are seeing so much chaos and so much tragedy and so much pain unfold, like every single day, that it kind of seems overwhelming. But that's whenever you learn to actuate your power, actuate your gift, and use what it was for. Like, that's a lot of, I think this is a great way to kind of pivot into what I wanted to talk to you about, the drug war and just like the proliferation of drugs and chemicals upon the population. I truly believe that we are given, like we were just talking about in this time frame, we were given this gift to try to make change. The same way you talked about the fake alien invasion. Yeah, they're not doing that because we talked about it, we were able to negate it. We were able to stop it. And so they had to go with a different route. The same thing happens with this gift of prophecy, with being able to have these future sight events. We have to start doing the work of what comes with it, of working these actions onto the earth. Otherwise, we will have these bad things happen to us. Otherwise, prophecy still unfolds. We're told about these things, we are given sights of it, and we have to do what we have to do to stop them from unfolding.
Right.
We are literally put here to be the agents of change, to be those change makers, to be those people who are stopping all this chaos unfold. If we don't do it, we're doing more of a disservice to ourselves. It's not even doing a disservice to ourselves. We're doing a disservice to the unborn children, to those that haven't even come yet. And that's why we have to push so hard.
Yep, and that's like, I think, a true warrior spirit. I've said this before, you know, I haven't said it in a long time because it's so above people's heads. But it's like a true warrior doesn't just fight for himself or whatever. Most people think like they're just fighting for themselves. You fight for the thousands of lives, all the lives before you and the lives that are to come. That's the level that I'm on. I'm not just fighting for me and for all of us that are alive right now. I'm fighting for all of those that came before us and all of those that are to come after us. That's the level that I'm on.
All I can say is amen, brother. Amen. Because that's what, again, let me pivot this way with you, dude. Because we're talking about epigenetics, we're talking about eugenics, we're talking about legacy, we're talking about humanity, we're talking about the future. We are talking about why we're doing all this, period. The vegans, they are just one part of this. These Marxists, these Antifa, they're only one part of this massive puzzle that we can break down to talk to people about. And we're trying our hardest every single day to get the information out to you guys. And yeah, we got to deal with we have to deal with dickheads. Yeah, we got to deal with douchebags. Yeah, we got to deal with a lot of jerks. And that's what happens whenever you're heading in the right direction. We're catching that enemy fire. We're catching those attacks, man. That's why we're succeeding. We're being tested and we're succeeding. We're coming out on top. That's what's epic about it, is we are literally trying we're in the present, fighting for the future. It's nuts. Let me pivot this way, because this also pertains to eugenics and to epigenetics. Like I was saying before, with the drug war, they're rolling out weed, they're rolling out heroin, they're rolling out Oxycontin, they're rolling out all these drugs and stuff on us, right? People don't see how this is going to get us addicted, turning us into junkies, and how this is going to depreciate the life expectancy. It's already happening, and as well as genetically modifying and biologically altering our children. Yes,
absolutely. And I've been saying this for a while now, before it was even anyone was really even talking about it, because of, you know, researchers like Alan Watt and all the research I've done. Thankfully, I have a skill, I think, of being able to research pretty well. And that the fact was that they were going to make it, all drugs are going to be legal. I've been saying this over and over and over again, because I have the vision also of seeing people celebrating in the street whenever if it's President Trump or it's whoever president is going to be, and it says, okay, marijuana is legal in the whole United States. Everyone's celebrating in the streets, and it's like, yo, you should know that this is not, like, this is part of the plan here. They don't, but they fall for it, because we get controlled by extremes. First, we're locking people up for smoking it, then it's just fully legal for everybody. Same thing going to be for the heroin, it's going to be for everything. Crack's going to be legal, and it's not to say that me and you believe that you should get arrested for smoking crack. It's just we're being toyed with and played, and we can see that.
It's the Hegelian dialectic, yes. Where they expand the Overton window of what we think of as crazy, and then, you know, they put, like you said, they control these extremes. Oh, well, you don't want to legalize drugs? Maybe we should lock everybody up that's doing them. It's like, did I say that, or is that what you guys said? Because that seems like it seems like that's what you guys are doing. And
right.
And to kind of pivot on that, or just to, you know, put a little footnote right there. Did you see who's getting involved with marijuana? Monsanto.
Monsanto, yeah. Of course, we knew that we're going to get involved. Is it that official now that they're getting involved in it?
I don't know. I think they got to settle this lawsuit, get absorbed by Bayer, and then I bet they'll start rolling it out.
Oh, it's already been done, is what I've been saying, is that most of the weed's already been modified. That's why I'm trying not to smoke much. Because all the weed's basically been modified already. That's my opinion. I can't prove it, but these seeds, where did these seeds come from? They're seeds of destruction, in my opinion. How did this weed get so strong? 50 years ago, 100 years ago, there's no way it was like this. You talk to the people that smoked back then, they said it wasn't this strong. It's been modified already.
This ties me into what I was saying beforehand, or what I was trying to bridge the connection with, is they're rolling out all these drugs, this modified marijuana, heroin, Oxycontin. Don't even get me started on what they put in the water, you know. You know, and again, we just spent like the whole first half of the show talking about what they're spraying on the crops. They're putting all these chemicals in everything to disorient us, to stop us, to stifle us, to keep us like in a regressive state of mind. Because again, I really feel like the time frame that we are in, Charles, is massive, dude. Like I didn't know that you had prophetic vision. That's kind of crazy. We're gonna talk about that for sure.
Yeah, I don't walk around. I don't walk around saying, you know, I'm a prophet. But my name in Hebrew is Yechezkel, and Yechezkel was the prophet that was sent to the evil city to take it down. Straight up.
Well, you definitely got the fire for it, bro.
Yeah, man, I hope we could do something about this, because this is just getting out of control, and it's just not right. I talk about how it's just not right, how unaffordable life has become to raise a family. Imagine trying to have 10 kids today.
Oh my gosh, no.
It's not, you know?
No, I couldn't imagine. I mean, I would love to have 10 variations of little me's running around causing chaos for everybody else, but ooh, man, I don't think the world's ready for that.
I think the world needs it. The world needs 10 of you running around, be honest with you, but it's hard to afford that right now, you know?
Yeah, you know, I don't want to get a clone, because I don't think he'll do this, man. My clone, he'll run away. He'll do some crazy stuff, and then I'll have to worry about my clone finding me. It's a whole thing. I wouldn't trust Clone EJ.
Yeah, Clone EJ. I don't know if me and Clone EJ would have this conversation right now.
The Clone EJ would be like, yo, look, they're talking about me. Like, they know I'm out there.
Oh, my God.
But, dude, who's to say that given, because, and these are the crazy times that we are in. You know, I showed you that video of that Kid Boo, you know, putting up the supposed video of him and his clone. Who knows whether or not it's real? Who knows whether or not it was edited, or if it's, you know, somebody else standing there? I don't know. But right. The fact that we're in the days of life literally being depreciated to where people could go get clones of themselves, or modify their children's embryo, not their genes, their child's genes. That's just crazy to me, man. Like, we are literally living in science fiction or science reality.
Yeah, it really is crazy. This stuff is here right now. It's all ready. The science has been perfected. They're just dishing it out slowly to us, getting us ready. They've been doing it in the movies. All these movies are just such propaganda. I really need to start watching all the movies, because I don't watch movies. I really don't. I need to start watching all of them.
It's because I'm sure you can see the programming.
Oh, yeah. And then take a few seconds of this and that, then take the mayor, and then put this and put everything together into a 1-minute clip, you know? Editing now. I think so, at least. And you can really paint a picture, you know? Like the movie The Island. Have you ever seen The Island with Scarlett Johansson?
I think so. Is that I forget the other actor. But yeah, they're on an island it's two people. They escape an island. They try to find like the original person, and he like betrays him, doesn't he? He like turns him back into the cloning facility.
The elites or the rich people are harvesting organs there from the clones, and they're buying them, and it's just like, whoa, dude.
And that's what's crazier is we're not that far off. Like, we are really.
It's already happening, you know.
Oh yeah, I'm sure to the elites that are already operating in this capacity, I'm sure there's like it's already there. Like, it's
weird though, you know, because it's like then you have all these conspiracy theories that come out, like, oh, Kanye's a clone, and oh, Taylor Swift's a tranny, and I just hear too much bullshit out there. There's too much garbage, but there is definitely something going on. There has to be some truth to some of it, because we know clones are real. We know the cloning process is going to come into it's going to be here, you know? It's going to be a real thing.
Well, think about it, you know, for if just to go down the Illuminati conspiracy rabbit trail real quick, if the whole entertainment industry was built upon like selling your soul to the devil, you know, and the devil using your image and just like manipulating society, wouldn't the best way to sell your soul, wouldn't that be to create like an artificial copy of you? Once you get to like a certain stratosphere of just like success, for them to just be like, hey, do you want a clone? He can help you do all this extra stuff. And then for them to kill the original. Kim Kardashian's already, I'm sure, about it. You know, look at Kanye. So there's I'm sure people walking around, walking, talking clones that we're seeing deployed upon us that we're just completely oblivious to, because this is how far advanced technology is. We think 5G is advanced because it's coming to us. It's going to obliterate us. That's not advanced technology. We don't even know what advanced technology is. What we think of as advanced, we're quickly learning with the smartphone technology. It's keeping us dumb. This stuff isn't smart. It's not advanced. This stuff is real basic. We're advanced. We need to figure out stuff to like advance us, to like enhance what we do. Like if I could figure out a way to like build a technology that Apple didn't know about to send you like, I don't know, like energy somehow, dude, how much farther in the future would we be? We're literally, the tools that we have right now are tools of enslavement. They're not tools of enlightenment. This technology is not meant to like enrich us or empowered us. It's like literally meant to sap our energy. Like that's what the whole idea behind Black Mirror is. It's just a blank screen, a blank phone, a TV, a black mirror reflecting the darker parts of what this technology is really for. It's not a white screen where you can find your way through the dark. This stuff is literally designed to just like keep us subservient. It's I don't mean to get like aggressive about it, dude, but it's just like I do all this because it comes from a place of compassion. You know, I love my fellow humans. I understand what's happened to us, and I'm understanding what is happening to us, and we have got to start figuring it out. We got to start like this. This is literally why I started screaming, Charles, when I did that. When I did those like series of Instagram stories, man, because I get charged talking with you. You got the pro-humanity in you, man, and that you got the power of soul in you. You got that energy, the luminiferous ether or the luminiferous fire as put forth by Nikola Tesla, man, and that's what's being smothered every day by this stuff. And we're only being able to
people have it more, you know. I wish more people had it. I don't see it. I see it in you for sure. I definitely see it in you. I just don't see it in most people. Most people it's just like, yeah, we'll talk about it, like we'll have a little conversation about it, and then just move on to the same old BS. It's like this stuff doesn't go away. This doesn't go away. Like somebody said to me, like at a poker game a couple weeks ago, like a home game, was like, do you ever just take a day off with this stuff? Like, it's like, not really, man. You know, not really.
Well, you can't take it. Well, I'm glad you said that. You know, a lot of this plays into memory. And that's a lot of what this technology was designed to do, was to mess with our attention span to where we don't remember anything from last week.
Oh, man. Yeah, everything's a 3-second scene. There's a car bomb scene in the trunk of the car, and then we move on to the next scene, and we move on to the next scene. And the video games are doing it to them. The movies are doing it to them. People can't focus on anything anymore. And
we're lost. And that's what I mean, is we're being turned into goldfish. We're being turned into those sheep. We're being turned into subhumanoid people who aren't stepping into that divine fire that they were supposed to have. Like, you're supposed to nourish that. You can't be half in and half out with this. You got to commit. Like, that's why.
Yeah, it's like having
go ahead.
50% have a kid. You go in there and you have a kid. You know what I'm saying? There's no half-assing having a kid. So there's no half-assing what we're doing right now either. That's why I know we had a conversation. Like, we probably both feel like in a way that we're half-assing this because it's so insane. The task that we're putting on ourselves is crazy. You know what I'm saying? But it's not even like we're putting it on ourselves. I think it's just the way things have to be. It's not even like we decided to do this. This is bigger than that. I do believe that.
Oh yeah. There are times where I still, to this day, I don't think I understand what I'm doing.
Right. Oh my God, I feel the same way. It's like, how is this happening? Like sometimes you sit back and you're like, how is this, right? Like you go through that shit too, right? Like how did this even, how?
Yeah.
Like, right? You have that type of feeling sometimes?
I do. That's why I tell people like, look, I am trying every day to be better. Like I'm trying to stutter less. I'm trying to make complete sentences. I'm trying my hardest to be the best version of myself for all of you. And as you said before, for the next generation that's coming, like I am sorry, I am a crazy host, but covering all of this stuff, I'm one man. I have Cindy. We have our awesome producer for Fellowship and Freedom, who helps take care of as much as she can over there. But I am only one person trying to do all that I can do for everybody else. I'm trying to set aside time for humanity. When does anybody else set aside time for humanity? And I'm not trying to virtue signal. I'm just trying to have honest, open discussions about what's going on in our current place and time. And that's just apparently that's revolutionary. And I don't see people doing it, but I'm proud to do it, and I'm proud to be here with people in this capacity to get it done, man. Because what else is there?
I'm sure the listeners appreciate you. I appreciate you so much for what you do. I mean, I should really be reposting your stuff every single day. I really should, and I know I should be. You know what I'm saying? Because you need to be. I mean, look at what just happened with Free Thought Project and anti-media and Choice and Truth, Natural Cures Not Medicine. Natural Cures. Awakening the Masses on here, right?
Yep.
His page is gone also.
Oh my God.
So they deleted all of that. That's kind of why I stopped using Facebook as much and focused more on here, because I foresaw that stuff's all going out. But now this stuff's going to go too, for sure. So it's why are they doing that though? Why are they doing that? It's right before 2020. Right before 2020, because they fear us organizing. That's what they fear. And that's kind of I hate, people criticize me all the time, oh, why don't you do this, or you should do this, and it's well, what are you doing? What are you doing? You're sitting there criticizing me. How many thousands of hours have I put into this stuff, educating people, or first even researching it to educate people, then thousands educating people, and for what? Not one penny. Not 1 cent I've done all this for. And I got these morons sitting on their couches with their fat asses criticizing me. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want to be now I'm going to criticize. But I kind of felt whoa, Free Thought Project, anti-media, you guys have millions of people, people looking at your stuff online. Why aren't we organizing? Why aren't we raising money to buy farmland? I just don't know. I don't know why. I guess it's easier said than done. You know what I mean? But people, we need to organize. We need to put our time, resources, money, efforts, everything has to be put together, and we need to go like a marching band. We got to play this song. You know what I'm saying? We need an orchestra.
I agree. I truly agree. We need to have more people who are out here trying to figure out not only the problems, but also solutions. And that's hard whenever you're getting hit with wave after wave after wave of problem. And I get it, but that's why you got to start yesterday. You have to start yesterday. It's not going to be perfect tomorrow. You have to start yesterday, so you can figure out where you're trying to take it. None of this is easy, but I tell you, it's rewarding, because you get a whole different sense of just purpose. You don't wake up just lethargic. I'm alive. You wake up feeling like you're alive. You are here. You are blessed. You are gifted. This is why I have you on. This is why I have on guests. Period. I don't have all the answers, but we need to start having a discussion, because the future's looking kind of crazy. And if more people keep going down this desensitized, indoctrinated lifestyle mindset to where everything's on autopilot, we don't see how we're going to lose our humanity and lose things for our kids. We're going to lose things we didn't even know we had.
Oh yeah.
Think about it. This tripped me out the other day thinking about this, and I hope I can encapsulate some of this the right way. I'll say it like this. You can all watch Donald Trump grow up on your phones, and now Donald Trump can watch you all grow up on his phone. What I'm trying to say is we're losing freedoms that we didn't even think were possible. Your children will not have access to the very same internet that you had. When I say I watched all those same old Illuminati conspiracy YouTube videos, I'm going to have to actually clarify in the future which documentaries those were, because they were going to be deleted. They've been removed.
Sure.
People aren't going to have access to all the content and all the information that is available to us. We're literally looking at modern day book burning. The information that you have right now is what you got. You better go get some more, because it's not going to be there in the future.
Can you believe that? All the stuff that Free Thought Project, anti-media, all that stuff that they put out there, it's gone.
Gone. And people don't understand how much of a devastating blow that is. I was talking with Jason Bassler of the Free Thought Project, and I was telling him how the STHF plan, Freedom Outpost, Sons of Liberty Media, and Renegade Tribune. These are 4 different media outlets that are freedom-minded, independent-minded, that all repost things from the Free Thought Project. Now, think about that. That's roughly, let's just say that's 40% of, if we have only 10 outlets that we use. 4 of those outlets, 5 of those, if we take down the Free Thought Project, 50% of our outlets are gone, all because one outlet was removed. Now think about that. You guys will now only have access to 50% of the content that I'm able to put out. People don't understand how massive that is. We need to have more people who are being proactive about research, about news, about information, about knowledge, because we're expecting other people to do all this stuff for us. Like there's not enough time in the day to get out this type of information, but that's why the window is small. That's why we only have now. We can't keep putting this type of stuff off. It's wild, man. It is definitely wild.
Yeah, we can't put this off anymore. Like, this needs to go into full effect, like full throttle. That's actually why I started, exposing myself. Like, I've done a couple stories on Instagram. I was doing stories just to get used to, because I'm not really a camera guy. I like my privacy. I love my privacy. I hate when I'm hanging out with some girls or my sisters or whatever, and it's always like, oh, Snapchat, I'm putting the phone in. I can't stand that shit. You know what I mean? I like my privacy. I don't want anybody filming me. You know what I mean? But it's just like God and the world just like told me, like, you kind of have to put yourself in the spotlight if you really want to make some big changes here. You can't just be a ghost on Instagram or a ghost online. Like, you need to be an actual public speaker. Like, I kind of see that I kind of have to have, that dude Rizza Islam on Instagram? He's pretty cool.
Yeah, I know Rizza.
Yeah, so he's speaking publicly. He's traveling. He's talking. He's like, I kind of have to go in that way too, I think.
And he's making moves too. I got to have him on. We got to clear some guests off of the show, but we're going to have him on because you're right, man. I truly do feel like that's the next form of activism, is breaking out of the digital matrix and getting back into reality. You're right. Rizza Islam's got it, dude.
Oh yeah, he's definitely, he's someone I can see them assassinating straight up. I can see it. I've already envisioned it, honestly. And I've envisioned the bullets coming. I'm sorry to say it.
Well, that's what's crazy too. Is I like to show tribute or pay tribute to people who were doing this before me because they inspired me to do this. And to be honest, Rizza Islam was one of the pages that I saw out there. Even he said he puts all the random emojis and stuff like all over the place. And I get it. It's not uniform. It grabs your attention.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So I've definitely seen like some of the stuff that he's done, and that's why, we're all inspiring one another. We're all encouraging one another to take that extra, to be bigger. Like you were just saying, there is nobody else. Like, we have to be that change. We have to take these steps, and we have to push ourselves. A little background story for people, whenever me and Charles talk all the time, and if it's not about money, if it's not about progress, if it's not about doing epic stuff and doing stuff like this, it's about how we do it better. And one of the things Charles keeps motivating me to do basically is he's telling me, like, look, dude, you need to step out there. And I'm having to get over myself and say, you know what, you're right, Charles. That's what I said on the Instagram story whenever I was freaking out. I was like, Charles is right. I need to do better.
Yeah, I got a good laugh on that.
It's the truth, because we're all here trying to encourage each other to make the better decisions. You got to think, and who around you actually wants to see you succeed? That's few and far between these days. A lot of people have time to hate. Not many at all. So we should really appreciate those people who want to see us succeed. And when we do these types of things, this is all coming from a place of love. The research, the activism, the extra work, even it seems like criticism, but I'm sure your father criticizes you whenever you drink and do dumb stuff at home. So, we're just trying to help.
It's so true. Yeah, and a lot of people get lost in, like, when I go against veganism aggressively, I get criticism as far as, like, there's all these other subjects, and I followed your page. Like, I have some people saying, like, recently, like, oh, I followed your page because you opened my eyes to so many different things, and now, you're just talking about this when there's so many other. It's like, I don't think they realize, like, yo, if I open your eyes to all that stuff, why aren't you opening your eyes to this? Like, there's a reason why I'm talking about the vegan thing so much. Trust me on this one. There's a reason why I'm sounding the bells on this one. You know what I mean? Because this is a beast. This vegan movement is a beast to take away our rights. I mean, one of your most basic rights is the right to eat your food. This is what this is about. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I don't even know where I was going with it, but there was a higher thing. Like, it's not, this isn't about hating anybody for what they eat. This is as basic as protecting our right to eat food. Straight up.
Well, it's like your name. Truth is terrorism. Truth is treason in an empire of lies. And everybody would prefer the comfortable lies rather than the truth. And that's why we do this.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like, and there are a ton of other, you know, there's a million different subjects to cover. Okay, and where I was going with this is that God, I'm drinking some kombucha right now, and maybe it's fried. But like, yeah, I don't know, I lost my track of thought there.
You know, the vegans, they'll say it was the parasites from the steak at the start of the show. They're entering your brain.
Sure. For sure, it's the fear from the cow that I hate. That's what's taking over.
Oh yeah, it has to be, bro. Like it has to be, dude. But no, what's crazy is every time you come on the show, we end up talking about different aspects of Agenda 21 and Agenda 2030 and the scientific dictatorship that people don't take the time to see being erected around them. And I think because people can't really see the claw coming for them in all these different dimensions, you know, they're just like, well, there's nothing going on. I can't see it. Well, it's right. Like, of course you can't see it.
And okay, my thing was that the reason why I'm talking about the vegan thing so much is because I believe that's the subject that's scamming the most people that are researching the truth right now. People that are into the truth and going against the government and all this stuff, they're falling for the vegan lie more than any other one. And that's why I'm putting more time into it, because I have to go against it, because I do believe it. I'm pretty sure you see how much this vegan thing is not a joke. It's very popular amongst our crowd of in our sector, if you want to call it the sector. I don't like when people say that, but it is a sector, and the vegan thing is like the most popular thing.
Yeah, well, it's because it speaks to us wanting to be decent-hearted people. It speaks to us who have seen, you know, what goes on in the meat industry, what goes on with corrupt anything. It speaks to that part of us to where we're just like, God, you know, we would like to do better. We would like to improve our life. We would like to, you know, make better decisions. And so they are weaponizing that empathy.
Yeah, definitely.
Against us.
Definitely. It's like, oh, it's compassion. But now you're saying that our number one food source should be taken away from us and that we should be thrown in jail for eating meat. It's like, what happened to the compassion thing? You know, where'd that go? Where's the compassion for the Eskimos and for all the people across the damn world that can't grow any fruits and vegetables during the entire year? Which is most of the world. Most of the world cannot grow plants during most of the year. That just throws the vegan thing straight in the toilet where it belongs.
But this is, again, it's more of that globalization mindset to where people aren't thinking critically about how every country is different, every part of the world is different, every person is different. They're just saying, you need to do what I need to do. You need to eat like I do.
Yeah, it's globalist. We got Amazon.com shipping us supplements and food all over the world. We're good. We don't need to worry about natural living.
This, because we're literally seeing, and this comes back to what we were talking about before. We're talking about these eco-fascists, these eco-police, these people who are using authoritarian measures to tell us what to do. And that's a very, very dangerous trend to go down. That's why, hey man, I know I'll probably catch a little slack from people who listen, but that's why, you know, we need to have you on to talk about this type of stuff. This is the uncomfortable truth that people are unwilling to look at.
I'm sure you already have caught slack for having me on.
Oh yeah, but hey, it's all good.
Or vegan takeover is not happy.
Come on, no, God, I'm vegan. I respect what Vegan Takeover is doing, you know, because I definitely see. I see why. It ties into what we were talking about before in these populated areas. You know how you have to have like some form of vegetation, some form of just like garden, to where you don't want to have something that's just shipped in and been like packaged and then sprayed, and you know you want to have some kind of control over your food. I can respect that, but you know that's why whenever you get into things like mass gardening and mass cultivation and agriculture, it's a whole different story. And that's, you know, society versus the individual, people versus the person, and all good things. But you know, yeah, man, I've caught slack from a few people from having you on, but you know what? That's the beautiful thing about the show that I do love doing, is everybody has a problem with everybody, and that's why we keep doing it. It's like
you have a very diverse crowd. You have like the Truth Is Our Religion guy who you introduced me to, who was like pretty cool, was friendly with him and everything, and then all of a sudden I went against Flat Earth, and he doesn't like that I go against veganism, so he had a problem with me posting on his thing that I'm an agent. It's like, I don't like all this stuff. I don't like it. And I respect Vegan Takeover. You know, he exposes a lot of the stuff going on with the transgenders, exposes vaccines, so I can appreciate and respect that. But you know, there's certain things I'm not gonna. It doesn't mean I don't hate somebody, but if you're gonna come at me and you're gonna attack me and you're gonna call me a shill, you're gonna call me an agent, I don't do that with any of these people. I haven't called any of these people shills or agents, not one of them. But they love that line today. All these people, well, oh, you're a shill, you're an agent, you're this. Like, shut the hell up, an agent. I put thousands of hours of my time into this and ain't get paid $1, and I'm an agent? Jeez, man, some of these people really, and that just shows we are in a time of peak paranoia and delusion. Truthfully, this has never been so many paranoid, delusional people as right now. And just the infighting of attacking each other, and it's just ridiculous. It really is ridiculous.
I agree, dude. You know, and that's why I feel like, I don't want to say we have to get back to basics, but we got to figure out, like, what is the foundation? What is the point that we were doing all this for? Like, what...
Exactly.
Where are we going with this?
Exactly. Like, and that's about our rights. That's what it has to do with. Our rights. And I'm having a lot of these people say, it's not your right to eat an animal. It's not your right to eat. It's like, really? It's not my right, huh? So why don't you come to my house and tell me it's not my right? Why don't you try to take the steak out of my hand? Let's see it. But they're not going to do that. They're cowards, and they will support government action instead.
And I think that's where I have to draw the line, is because I'm seeing a lot more, you know, as we've kind of like touched on all throughout all of it, I'm seeing a lot more authoritarian beliefs, like within what we would consider like the conscious community, infiltrate. I thought the whole idea behind all of this was to advocate like independent and free thought, and just like being like the individual and doing this. And I feel like what's happening now is we're gradually moving towards this collectivist mindset, this group mindset, to where it's just like, look, it's like when you I don't know, it's like when you play like an online game and you pick like your class, you know, you have to, this is the class for rogue, you know, you use this weapon, you have to use this armor type, you have to use all this other stuff, you know, they give you like a loadout of who you're supposed to be. You're not allowed to just like free range and create yourself, you know. Right. And I feel like that's the very dangerous part. You're supposed to find your tribe, not be defined by your tribe. And so that's what's going on. We have this authoritarian, creepy mindset to where people are telling us, look, if you want to be a truth seeker, you got to be vegan. You got to. It is.
If you want to be a truth seeker, you have to be talking about flat Earth. Like, come on.
That's dangerous. It's like, oh, if you're a truth seeker, it's at what point did we allow for like these mainstream ideas to infiltrate what should have been alternative in the first place?
Yeah, like we need to defend our rights to even come up with these ways of thinking, and to have our own opinions and to have our own viewpoints. That's what we're supposed to be fighting for, is to protect each individual's right to think the way they want and to talk about what they want. Not to be like, oh, I hope they take your page down because you're not a flat earth guy. Like, come on. Or because you're going against the vegan thing and exposing that the government wants us to eat less meat and wants to ban our meat. Like, it's crazy. Like, we gotta work on like commonalities. The same thing they tell you when you're trying to get a girl. I'm not trying to be a pickup artist over here or anything, but like, you're supposed to focus on what you have in common with the girl. You're not supposed to start talking about, oh, you hate this favorite singer of hers, or you hate this and you don't like this, and you're supposed to focus on what you have in common. That's how you make things happen.
Well, are you single right now, Charles? Should we tell the ladies?
They're perpetually single at the moment. Yeah.
Well, there you go, ladies. Charles is single. If you want to try to scoop him up, Charles, my friend, this has always been a pleasure. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Real quick, before you go, where can people find more of your amazing work?
Truth is Terrorism on Instagram. Vegan World Order also on Instagram. You can check it out on Facebook too, Truth is Terrorism, and my YouTube channel as well. You could type in my name, Charles Kassin, or Truth is Terrorism, and maybe you'll find me there. Because
that's a new venture that you're going after, right? We're motivating each other to step in front of the camera and go on YouTube, right?
Gotta do it. I mean, I'm sure they'll delete us there also, but you gotta just get everywhere at this point.
Right on, brother. I definitely believe so. Thank you for coming on. It's been a pleasure, man.
Thank you so much. Have a good one, everybody.
And there he goes, Charles Kassin of Truth is Terrorism. I know we went over a whole lot, and I know this is one of our more aggressive discussions, but I would really implore you good people to go back and listen to the previous discussions that me and Charles have had over the wide variety of subjects. The reason we come at you guys in this passionate, aggressive way is because we care. This is all coming from a place of understanding, compassion, and love. We are trying to fix all these problems that you see going on every single time we get the chance. However, that's all I really have for you. If you have any questions, feel free to email me. I'll have it in the description bar below, as well as Charles. And remember, guys and gals, stay vigilant, expose lies and share truth. This is Noise Era, Freedom Faction, and Charles Kassin of Truth is Terrorism, out.